All the folk were badly frightened. Was it Neptune or Poseidon? Were they fighting with a Titan or a Kraken? Then the lightning would flash and the thunderclap would crash. Was it Zeus or maybe Set or Fame Popo? Maybe Thor or Dionysus would accept our sacrifices, but we really didn't have a way to know. Until some people wondered whether we could understand the weather, and together started studying the air. We began to build barometers and mercury thermometers, hygrometers for knowledge we could share. We collected lots of data and began to find a way to say just what we think the weather's gonna do. So now instead of mere mythology, we've got meteorology, because the best part of science is it's true. And I mean that literally. We can predict stuff now. Back in the ancient days when millions of people died of illnesses like polio, pertussis, and rubella, we imagined horrid horsemen who would gallop on their course and make a corpse out of a lady or a fella. We could try to help our odds, sacrificing to the gods, making ointments out of rhino horn and poo. And a lot of people thought that it was working. It was not, but we didn't have a method yet for testing what was true. But today, if you get ill with a fever or a chill, modern doctors make a careful diagnosis. And instead of making guesses, we've got rigorous processes for prevention, predication, and prognosis. While with modern sanitation and effective vaccinations, we have saved entire nations from their graves. So now instead of mere mythology, we've got microbiology, because the best part of science is it saves lives, that is, tens of millions of them. So when you come across a fossil of a creature that's colossal, or you see a star that's moving in the sky, don't assume that it's a fairy or a dragon mean and scary. You can understand what's happening if you try, because a myth's an allegory, but you know it's just a story, so enjoy it for the way it makes you feel. But when you start to wonder why the lightning and the thunder, the best part of science, my favorite part of science, the greatest part of science is it's real, whether you believe in it or not. Hey, it's Tim Griffin. I'm here in La Cañada in my little home office. I am pre-recording this show because I'm going to be out of town when the show is being webcast. But nonetheless, it is a colossal honor. I want to thank Lem and everyone else at FOTLR for including me today. I miss you guys so much, and I just can't wait to see y'all again. I hope everyone is healthy. So anyway, one thing I've been working on lately at GriffinEd, that's my nonprofit, it's a 501c3. We've been doing songwriting residencies, and I'm going to share a couple of those songs with you, where I go into a school and I work with the kids in a classroom. We write about something that the teacher decides on, and the kids research it, and I help them turn it into a song. So here's an example from a 5th grade class over in Granada Hills. They were studying causes of the American Revolution. And of course, we set it to a tune that the kids know, so it's easier to sing it. After the French and Indian War in the year 1764, Parliament levied some heavy new taxes on sugar and molasses. The colonists were so angry that we decided to hang King George in effigy. When the tax was repealed the next year, the people cheered. When Congress votes on our taxes today, we pay whatever they ask us. But when we were taxed by a land far away, we grabbed our torches and axes. Parliament levied new taxes again. It's a fact when they passed the Stamp Act. Everything made out of paper must pay, and we wished it would go away. Tax collectors employed by the crown found much of their property burnt to the ground. We sent Ben Franklin to London to say we would not pay. When Congress votes to tax you and me, we freely pay them whatever. But when we were taxed taxed from over the sea. We grabbed our tar and our feathers. Finally, in 1773, Parliament tried to mess with our tea. Boston got awfully ugly that year, and some loyalists fled in fear. The Sons of Liberty dressed up one day and dumped all the tea right into the bay. When King George tried to settle the score, it led to war. We know with government nothing comes free. We have to pay for our nation. But we responded militantly when taxed without representation. So that one was to the tune of the Super Mario theme by the brilliant Koji Kondo, and the song never had lyrics before, so we fixed that for him. Anyway, one thing we did this year during the lockdown, I got a grant from the Lewis and Harold Price Foundation. They supported GriffinEd to reinvent our residency and change it from being an in-class thing, because everyone wasn't going to class, to something we could do online via Zoom or other video conferencing. Here is a song that was written by some very bright kids up in Cupertino who are studying the musculoskeletal system. And these third graders wanted to write about how a baby skeleton develops into an adult skeleton because it goes through a lot of changes. And we borrowed a tune from Katy Perry for this one. So this is about the development of the musculoskeletal system. When I was born, I had 300 bones. I was so incomplete, couldn't stand on my own. The skull in my head wasn't fused, I could tell. It was just 6 plates of bone and 6 fontanelles. I had soft baby bones, but they started to grow. They were weak, now they're strong. They were short, now they're long. I'd lie there all day, but I now run and play. I climb and I jump, I fall, I get up. You got a lot of bones, oh. You ought to know how they grow. Oh, I had soft baby bones, but they started to grow. They were weak, now they're strong. They were short, now they're long. Bones were soft, some were just cartilage, but they grew and some fused with some churs at the edge. They absorbed calcium and some fused into one. Now I've got 206 in my skeleton. I had soft baby bones, but they started to grow. They were weak, now they're strong. They were short, now they're long. I'd lie there all day, but I now run and play. I climb and I jump, I fall, I get up. Someone call a doctor, tell me how to prevent a fracture. Wear a helmet and some knee pads when my board I ride. Milk and some kale have so much calcium. They can build healthy bones along with collagen. If I eat healthy food and I get exercise, then my bones are gonna grow before your eyes. I had soft baby bones, but they started to grow. They were weak, now they're strong. They were short, now they're long. I'd lie there all day, but I now run and play. I climb and I jump, I fall, I get up. You got a lot of bones, oh. Now you know how they grow, oh. You really got a lot of bones, oh. And now you know how they grow. Kids did a great job on that one. So yeah, that was just via Zoom. And by the way, because we're doing those songwriting residencies for kids online now as a web conferencing thing, we can serve schools anywhere in the world. So if you know a teacher that would like to have a virtual songwriting residency, you should know it's all free. Just reach out to me on at GriffinEd.org or on our Facebook page, or whatever works for you, and we'll see if we can put it together and make it happen. All right, now I'll finish up with one of my favorite residency songs. This came from some middle school kids who were working on ancient civilizations, and they wanted to know more about Egyptian burial practices. Tutankhamun was a pharaoh of the land along the river, and when he died his people dried his stomach and his liver. His lungs and his intestine went into the salt of natron, then stored in 4 canopic jars, each with a godly patron. When a pharaoh died, he'd be cut and dried, his body mummified, his organs in a jar. So they put a hook into his nose and gently drew his brains out. Be careful where you put 'em or you'll never get the stains out. They dried him out for 60 days. It was a lot of work. He might once have been a mighty king, but now he's just a jerky. When a pharaoh died, he'd be cut and dried, his body mummified, his organs in a jar. When he was done with desiccation, they removed the salt he'd been in. They wrapped him up in resin and 100 yards of linen. They laid him in a coffin and sarcophagus to rest in, with jars to hold his lungs and liver, stomach and intestine. When a pharaoh died, he'd be cut and dried, his body mummified, his organs in a jar. So they sealed him in a secret tomb with charms and words and curses. He lay there through 3,000 years and far too many verses. The pyramids were plundered, but the secret tomb was smarter. We might have never found him if it weren't for Howard Carter. When a pharaoh died, he'd be cut and dried, his body mummified, his organs in a jar. And when a pharaoh died, he'd be cut and dried, his body mummified, his organs in a jar. Alrighty then, I'm going to pause for a moment while I switch instruments. I'll see you in a couple of seconds. Hey, I'm back. By the way, I want to apologize to all the people who have been trusting me with their music over the last several years, and then I've kind of been AFK a lot. Partly the pandemic, partly some family stuff, partly other things. And I just want to thank all the people who have supported GriffinEd with their time and their money too, and their music. And I'm trying to get back on task here. And thank you for your patience. Now Leonardo's mother had a thing or two to say about the way he filled his notebooks up with sketches every day. She noted he showed aptitude in science, math, and art. But Leonardo, won't you finish what you start? You designed a fancy bridge to span 1/4 of a mile, 13 fellas eating dinner and a lady with a smile. I'd admit I like the angel who enunciates the news, but if you were really wise, you'd organize your socks and shoes. As Leonardo grew, he got in trouble all the time, filling every book he read with little notes. When his mother saw him scribbling, she said it was a crime, so she seldom even noticed what he wrote. There were amazing annotations on anatomy and art, some surprising revelations on the bumping song of the heart. There were maps that were so accurate they looked like photographs, and a portrait of a Baptist and a Bacchus just for laughs. There were notes on physiology of humans and of birds, and a study of a baby in the womb. And she told him, everybody likes your pictures and your words, but I'll really be impressed when you get dressed and clean your room. Leonardo was the model of the Renaissance, they say, but there were so many things he left undone. Showed his genius in every imaginable way, but I wish he had completed everything he had begun. Several sketches of a horse to build a giant statue of, and some completed paintings of the ladies that he loved. A handy helicopter to go flying through the air, and a well-proportioned guy inside a circle and a square. One device for cooking food with solar power instead of fire. Another nifty tool to test the tensile strength of wire. A 20-meter crossbow that I wish that I could shoot, and a pyramid that really was an early parachute. One machine he called an organ but was really just a gun, and the geometric figure on big cube octahedron. About a dozen paintings done while he was in his groove. There's a few in the Uffizi and a Lisa in the Louvre. This is just a partial list, you know there are so many others. He began and then completed only part. And now I wish that Leonardo had only listened to his mother when she told him, Leonardo, won't you finish what you start? Yeah. All right. So, it's a little early for holiday music, but, you know, why not? May as well. You know Rudolph and Frosty the Snowman. You know Santa with presents to go, man. But do you ever recall the most wonderful, mythical holiday figure of all? It's a magical time for the children, and they're trying their best to be good, for they know who's coming for Christmas and what he will do to the ones who've not done as they should. The parents all smile as they welcome him in, bearing unto the children the fruit of their sin. Come Krampus, come Krampus, come Christmas each year. Come show naughty children the meaning of fear, while Santa brings all the good children their toys. Come Krampus for bad girls and boys. You know most of the children get presents because they've been good, but if not, when Christmas time comes, they will feel the dark presence of him who takes kids where it's awfully hot. Remember how mankind was saved on this day, except for the few who get carried away. Come Krampus with horns on your head. Come show naughty children the meaning of dread, while good little children join in for the feast. Come Krampus, you horrible beast. You know Krampus is coming for Christmas, with a sack and a switch and a chain. He's making things easy for Santa this Christmas, for Santa just visits the ones who remain. So if old-time religion is really your thing, then raise up your voices together and sing. Come Krampus, come deep in the night. Come show naughty children the meaning of fright, while good children play with the presents they got. Come Krampus for those who are not. Come Krampus, you old pagan prince. I told all my kids they've been good ever since. They're just sitting there quietly quaking with cheer, and we all know the reason. It's the joy of the season, 'cause Krampus is coming for Christmas this year. Merry Christmas. So, I'm going to try something a little different here. This is for one of the projects that I completely dropped the ball on over the last couple of years, was a collaboration with Jeff Bonhoff and Maya Bonhoff on a project we've been calling Read Me, where we're doing songs to inspire kids to read some of our favorite books. And Jeff put together a fantastic team with a lot of terrific musicians. The only person on the team that really hadn't been doing a good job is me. And Jeff, I am sorry. And to the other collaborators, I'm going to try to get back on the ball with it. Here is a song for that project that's kind of a work in progress here. One of my favorite books is The Princess Bride. And of course, the movie is wonderful too. I know a man who needs killing. We fought once before near Toledo in Spain. My hand and my heart were both willing, but my body and mind were untrained. His only mistake was to leave me alive. The next time we meet, only one will survive. If you fear me, that's not paranoia. If you think you can take me, you're welcome to try, for my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die. I spent the next decade in training, dedicating my heart to the art of the blade, to keep the fight fair and failing. From the right to the left hand I'd trade. In my left hand are 1,000 ways I can kill. I'll show you the right one is deadlier still. In a fencing match I will destroy ya. You're not really left-handed, and neither am I, for my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die. There is only one man who is faster, only one who can beat me with left hand or right. Now the man in the mask is my master, and I'll follow him into the fight. He has promised to help in my quest if he can, if only to find me a six-fingered man from the land of Velasquez and Goya. I will shout in your face as I spit in your eye that my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die. Well, they call you once bested boy. Well, you now face the man, and your death is now nigh, for my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die. Alrighty. So here is a history song for you. True story, 1928. It was 1928 when the engineer Mulholland said the St. Francis Dam was good to go, with a whole year's worth of water for a thirsty growing Southland, and no danger to the people down below. But a little short of midnight came a thunder like a cannon, with a lot of sleeping people in the way. 50 million tons of water came down Francisquito Canyon, and a night shift operator started calling folks to say, can you hear me in Castaic? This is Lucy on the line. Wake your family, get them up to higher ground. There's not much time. You better run out of that canyon, leave all your things behind. Now I've got some other calls to make, said Lucy on the line. Now Lucy was a hello girl in the town of Santa Paula. You'd hear her voice each time you used the phone. With her fingers on her switchboard, she connected every call. And sometimes she worked the evening shift alone. Then one night in 1928 came word from up the valley. The dam had failed and death was on the way. And though Lucy was no expert, she knew water runs downhill. So she sat down at her switchboard calling people up to say, can you hear me up in Saugus? This is Lucy on the line. You know a lot of little towns are in the way. One is mine. We got a monster in our valley and we're running out of time. Go get the children out of bed, said Lucy on the line. Then Pyru gone right off the grid. The flood was coming closer with 100 feet of water, earth and stone. When the sheriff ordered Lucy out, she simply told him no, sir, and went back to saving people on the phone. When the flood came down to Fillmore town, a lot of homes went under. She knew which town would be the next to fall. Then through an open window Lucy heard a growing thunder, but she held the line to place just one more call. Can you hear me, Santa Paula? This is Lucy on the line. Wake your neighbors, wake your children, and the families who, thanks to Lucy, made it out in time, helped to spread the word and thank the Lord for Lucy on the line. The flood ran down along the banks of the Santa Clara River, leaving 50 miles of death from dam to sea. With near 500 people lost, some were never found, Mulholland said, just put the blame on me. All the people of the valley wondered what became of Lucy, but all the food and power lines were down. It took a long time to fix them, but then the people learned when they all picked up their phones and heard an old familiar sound. Can you hear me in Ventura? This is Lucy on the line. You know, it got a little hairy there, but sure, I'm doing fine. I thought the water had me beat, but it missed by several feet. Give the neighbors my best wishes and a big hug for the missus. Give all the kids my kisses. This is Lucy on the line. And a big thank you to the women and men who are on the line for us right now. Got a couple of minutes remaining, so quick plug for GriffinEd. We are a 501c3 team of educators and musicians collaborating to raise academic achievement for kids of all ages with fun educational music about science, math, history, and all that good stuff. All of our music streams free on our website and on our YouTube channel. We are funded by foundation grants and tax-deductible donations. And just one more time, I cannot say this enough, what a pleasure and a joy and a privilege it is to be able to share music with you guys and to listen to your music and hopefully to be able to share some of it through GriffinEd and pay royalties to people, because it is such a privilege to get to do what I do, but I couldn't do it without you guys. So thanks for including me. Love you all. Bye-bye.